I never thought I'd hear my own name hiss like a curse in my parents' house. That afternoon, I walked through their front door, arms loaded with grocery bags, planning to surprise them with dinner, Mom's old pasta recipe from when I was a kid. I didn't call ahead. I figured they'd be thrilled. Instead, I got a knife to the heart. I stopped dead in the hallway. Their voices drifted from the living room, low and sharp. "I don't know how much longer we can keep pretending," Dad said, his tone heavier than usual. "Ally's a pathetic disappointment. Sure, she pays the bills, but that doesn't make up for her being a failure in everything else." My chest tightened. The bags nearly slipped from my hands. Mom's voice came next, calm as if she were discussing the price of tea. "Well, at least her money keeps us comfortable. She knows she owes us for everything we've done. It's the least she can do." I couldn't breathe. My parents, the people I'd spent years supporting, were shredding me like I was nothing. I stood there, staring at the wall, waiting for it to make sense. It didn't. I'd always known they weren't warm. Growing up, my grades, my jobs, my promotions, none of it was ever enough. But this? This wasn't just criticism. This was hate. I backed out silently, groceries still in the car, and drove home. Their words looped in my head. Pathetic disappointment. At least her money keeps us comfortable. I couldn't unhear it. For 5 years, I'd been their lifeline. When Dad's construction business tanked and Mom quit her job, I stepped up. At 26, I took a project manager gig at a tech firm, worked overtime, lived cheap, all so they could keep their house, eat out, travel. I paid their mortgage, utilities, even their phone bills. They didn't know how much I gave up. And there they were, in the home I funded, mocking me. I got back to my apartment and sat on the couch, staring at the spreadsheet I kept of their expenses. Every dollar I'd sent them glared back at me. I used to feel proud of it, proof I was a good daughter. Now I felt stupid. I kept replaying their voices, hoping I'd misheard. Maybe they meant someone else. Maybe it was a bad day. But I knew the truth. This was who they were. The next morning, I woke up with a pit in my stomach. Work was a blur. I couldn't focus. All I could think about was confronting them. I needed to know why. By the time I got home, I'd decided. I couldn't pretend everything was fine. So I called. Dad picked up, all fake cheer. "Ally, sweetheart," he said, like nothing was wrong. I didn't waste time. "Dad, I heard you yesterday." I was there. I heard everything. Silence. Then Mom grabbed the phone and laughed like I'd said something funny. "Well, it's true, isn't it?" she said, her voice cutting. "You've never lived up to what we expected. You owe us everything, Ally. You know that." That was it. Something snapped. Years of guilt, of trying to please them, melted away. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just put the phone down and sat there. The room felt empty, but not in a bad way. For once, I wasn't drowning in their expectations. I was free, and I knew what I had to do next. After that call, I didn't sleep. My mind wouldn't stop. Every sacrifice I'd made for them played on repeat. 5 years of skipped vacations, late nights at work, saying no to friends, all so they could sit in that house and call me a failure. I loved them. They didn't love me back. By morning, I was done doubting myself. I had to act. I opened my budgeting app. There they were, the automatic payments I'd set up years ago. Mortgage, utilities, credit cards, their cell phones, my money keeping their lives afloat. I stared at the screen, my finger hovering over the cancel button. Then I hit it. One by one, I shut them off. Confirmation emails pinged in. It felt like I was clawing my life back. I called Eva, my best friend. She'd warned me for years that they were using me, but I'd always brushed her off. This time, I told her everything, their words, the call, how I'd cut the payments. She didn't gloat. "Ally, you don't have to keep paying for people who don't see you," she said. I broke down crying, harder than I had in years. She was right. The next day, my phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "Sweetheart, some things aren't going through this month. Did you change banks? Call me." No apology, no hint of what they'd said. Just worry about their money. Hours later, Dad chimed in. Hey, Ally. Mom's worried. Payments are missing. Can you check? Still nothing real. I didn't reply. They kept texting over the next few days. We're worried about you. Did you forget the mortgage? We know you're busy. Please don't be stubborn. Stubborn? I wasn't stubborn, I was awake. Their messages got sharper, more desperate. Dad even emailed. Urgent. Please respond. I let it all sit there unread. Silence was my answer. By Sunday, I did something new. I took the day for myself. No work, no errands, no family guilt. I went to the park with a book I'd been too busy to read. It felt weird at first, like I was slacking off. But then it hit me, I wasn't forgetting anything. I was just living. That night, Mom texted again, call us when you can. We didn't mean it. I stared at those words. We didn't mean it. Bullshit. They meant every syllable. I didn't respond. They'd said it when they thought I couldn't hear, relaxed, honest, no filter. That was the real them. And I wasn't unhearing it. The days after that, their tone shifted. Ally, why aren't you answering? We've been good to you. Don't throw away family over a misunderstanding. Then the kicker. The mortgage is late. The bank's calling. Please, sweetheart. There it was, their real panic. Not about me. About the cash. I told Eva about it over tea at her place. It's like I'm grieving them, but they're still here, I said, gripping the mug. She nodded. You're grieving who you hoped they'd be. That hit hard. I'd spent years waiting for them to change, to see me. They never would. You deserve better, she said. And you know it. I did. And it didn't hurt as much as I'd expected. It felt like shedding a weight. The next morning, I got an email. Final notice. Mortgage payment overdue. Immediate action required. My stomach dropped for a second, old habits. But I didn't rush to fix it. They'd ignored reality for years because I'd shielded them. Not anymore. Later, Dad left a voicemail. Ally, I don't know what this stunt is, but you need to stop. You're stressing us out. I laughed. Me, stressing them? Mom called that night, no pretense left. We raised you better than this, she snapped. Ignoring us, letting the mortgage lapse. We didn't mean it. I was joking. Stop being so sensitive. Sensitive. That word again. They'd used it my whole life to shut me down. But I wasn't sensitive. I was done. I pictured them in that house, freaking out as the bank closed in. And I was okay with it. A week later, they were unraveling. The calls and texts wouldn't stop, each one more frantic than the last. Mom's voicemails went from fake concern to outright desperation. Ally, we're worried sick. The mortgage is late. Please, just call us. Then Dad, the bank's on us. We're losing the house. We didn't mean it, please. I didn't budge. They weren't sorry for me. They were sorry for themselves. I was at work when the next blow landed. An email from the bank, still tied to their account from years of payments, showed the foreclosure process had started. I could have stepped in. Old me would have. But I just closed it and kept working. That night, Eva came over. I showed her the email. They chose this, she said. I nodded. She was right. They'd built their life on my back and now it was crumbling. Then the relatives started. Aunt Carol texted, Hey, it's me. Your mom's a mess, Ally. Just call her. Family sticks together. I clenched my jaw. Family. They loved that word when it meant me giving in. I didn't reply. Days later, cousins I hadn't seen in years chimed in. How could you do this? Forgive and forget. They didn't know the half of it. They hadn't heard my name spat like trash. By the second week, my parents upped the game. Dad emailed a link to an article about seniors struggling to find housing. Is this what you want for us? Mom went darker. If you don't help, people will know your friends, your boss. Do you want them to see how selfish you are? My blood ran cold. They were threatening me now, my job, my life. But I wasn't shocked. This was them, unmasked. I forwarded it to Eva. She called instantly. Ally, protect yourself. Don't let them spin this. She was right. I logged into my work portal and pulled everything: pay stubs, emails, reviews. If they tried to smear me, I'd be ready. I wasn't letting them drag me down. Not this time. A few days later, Mom's tone shifted. We didn't mean it, ally. We were stressed. Please don't ruin everything. You're supposed to help us. Supposed to. That was their whole deal. I existed to serve them. I didn't reply. The words didn't even sting anymore. They were just noise. Then the big one hit. Aunt Carol called again, voice shaking. They're losing the house, ally. Weeks until it's auctioned. Your dad's a wreck, your mom's crying. You have to step in. I stayed calm. I'm sorry, Carol, but I'm not doing it. Silence. Then, they're your parents. They messed up, but family's family. I know, I said. That's why I gave them everything. But I can't keep killing myself for them. I hung up before she could guilt me more. The bank emails kept coming. Foreclosure notices posted. I pictured my parents staring at that red-lettered sign on their door, stunned. They'd ignored it all, thinking I'd save them like always. But I wouldn't. They'd sneered at me one too many times. That night, Dad emailed again, cold and sharp. If you don't fix this, you'll regret it. You owe us. We raised you. I laughed out loud. Raised me? I'd raised myself, worked jobs, paid loans, covered their messes. I dug up old emails, receipts from college when their checks bounced, and I picked up the slack. They didn't pay for me. I did. Their lies were crumbling, and so was their grip. Mom's next voicemail sealed it. I hope you're happy, ally. We're losing everything, house, cars, all of it. Is that what you wanted? You're pathetic, just like we said. There it was again. Pathetic. Not a slip-up. The truth. I played it for Eva. Tears hit me hard. This isn't love, she said. It's manipulation. She was right. And I was done being their puppet. They begged again days later. Please, ally. One last time. We're begging. I didn't answer. I was already moving legally, emotionally, building a wall they couldn't climb. They weren't my burden anymore. They were about to crash, and I wasn't catching them. The house went into foreclosure fast. A bank email confirmed it, auction in 30 days unless they paid up. They couldn't. I knew that. For years, I'd been the only thing holding it together. Without me, it was over. I thought I'd feel some rush of victory watching it collapse. I didn't. It was just quiet. A strange, heavy quiet. Eva handed me a folder over coffee a few days later. Talk to a lawyer like you asked, she said. You're covered if they try anything, harassment, lies, whatever. I nodded, staring at it. The weight in my chest wasn't guilt anymore. It was resolve. They're losing the house, I said. She didn't blink. They chose this. She was right. I'd given them everything. They'd given me nothing. Dad called that weekend, voice cracked and small. Ally, please don't do this. We didn't mean it. We need you. I almost picked up. That old part of me, the kid who wanted their love, twitched. But I stopped. They didn't call when they hurt me. They called when the money dried up. I let it ring out. That night, I boxed up old photos, cards, trinkets, stuff I'd kept out of duty. Into the donation pile they went. I felt lighter with every seal. Word spread quick. Relatives I hadn't talked to in years blew up my phone. How could you abandon them? They sacrificed so much. Unforgivable. I didn't flinch. They didn't know the story, didn't hear the sneers, didn't see the spreadsheets. I wasn't the villain here. Then Mom showed up at my office. I watched on the security feed as she begged the receptionist, wild-eyed, searching for me. Security walked her out. She left a note on my car. Please, ally, we can fix this. Don't do this to your family. I tossed it in the trash. The night before the auction, I sat with tea, staring at the city lights. Eva called. They're still trying. You okay? I am, I said, and I meant it. The house sold the next morning. A young couple got it, beaming in the online photos. My parents moved to a cheap rental across town. I didn't ask details. I didn't need them. This wasn't revenge. It was me choosing me. 3 months later, my apartment felt like mine, my furniture, my peace. I hadn't lost them. They'd lost me. And it hit me, that was power. But it wasn't over. Mom emailed one last time. Ally, we're struggling. Please, just talk to us. No sorry, no regret, just a handout. I deleted it. Then Dad tried. You owe us more than this. We're your parents. I laughed. I owed them nothing. Aunt Carol called again. They're falling apart, Ally. You could have stopped this. I stopped it for years, I said. They didn't care until it cost them. She sighed. They're still family. Family doesn't call you pathetic while cashing your checks, I shot back. She went quiet. I hung up. The threats came next. Mom texted, people will hear about this. You'll be sorry. I saved it, evidence if I needed it. Eva saw it and shook her head. They're desperate. Keep that lawyer close. I would. They'd already lost the house. Now they were losing control. And I wasn't bending. Work stayed steady. Friends like Eva kept me grounded. I started saying yes to dinners, trips, life. I'd spent years saying no to keep them afloat. Now every yes felt like a win. They kept reaching out, voicemails, guilt trips, sob stories. I ignored them all. The bank notices stopped coming. The house was gone. Their mess was theirs. One night, I found an old email from Mom, years back, mocking my first promotion. At least it's something, I guess. I'd brushed it off then. Now it burned. They'd always seen me as less. I closed it and slept better than I had in years. They were sinking. I was rising. And I wasn't looking back. 3 months after the house sold, my life felt like mine again. No more late-night panic over their bills, no more guilt trips echoing in my head. I was free, but they wouldn't let go. The messages kept coming, Mom's pleas, Dad's demands, relatives playing mediators. I ignored them all. Silence was my shield now. Mom's next email was a sob story. Ally, we're barely scraping by. The rental's awful. Please, just talk to us. I read it once and deleted it. No apology, just more begging. Dad followed up, you're breaking us. We raised you better. Raised me? I'd raised myself and them since I was 26. I didn't reply. They didn't deserve it. Aunt Carol tried again. They're struggling, Ally. Your mom cries every day. Can't you help, just a little? I kept my voice steady. I helped for years. They called me pathetic for it. I'm done. She paused. They're not perfect, but they're family. Family doesn't stab you in the back, I said. She didn't push. I hung up. Then the tone shifted. Mom texted, you're selfish. Everyone's talking about how you abandoned us. Dad piled on, we'll tell your boss, your friends. You'll regret this. My stomach twisted, not from fear, but anger. They were cornered and lashing out. I screenshot everything and sent it to Eva. They're escalating, she said. You've got that lawyer, right? I nodded. I was ready. Work was my anchor. I threw myself into it, meetings, projects, late nights that were mine to choose. My boss noticed. You're sharper lately, he said. I smiled, just focusing on what matters. He didn't know the half of it. Eva and I started planning a trip, something small, a weekend away. I hadn't done that in years. It felt like breathing. The relatives kept coming. A cousin I barely knew called. Ally, they're in bad shape. You're all they've got. They had me, I said. They threw it away. He stammered. But they're your parents. And I was their daughter, I shot back. Didn't stop them from trashing me. He didn't have an answer. I ended the call. One night, I found an old voicemail from Dad, saved from months back. Ally, we're proud of you, he'd said after I'd paid off their car. Proud? I'd clung to that once. Now I heard the lie. They were proud of my wallet, not me. I deleted it. The next day, Mom left a new one. We're sorry, okay? We didn't mean it. Help us. Too late. I erased that too. Eva came over that weekend. We cooked, laughed, ignored my buzzing phone. She saw the latest text from Mom. You're tearing us apart. Please. Eva snorted. They tore themselves apart. I nodded. I just stopped fixing it. She grinned. Good. We clinked glasses. For once, I wasn't the one cleaning up their mess. The threats fizzled out. No one showed up at work. No smear campaign hit. Maybe they realized I wouldn't break, or maybe they had nothing left to throw. Either way, I didn't care. I kept the lawyer's number handy, just in case. The bank emails stopped. The house was gone. Their world had shrunk and I wasn't in it. A week later, I got a package, old photos, and a note from Mom. Thought you'd want these. We miss you. No sorry, no accountability. I tossed the note, kept the pictures. Not for them, for me, for the kid I'd been before their weight crushed me. That night, I slept without dreams. They were fading. I was solidifying. And I wasn't going back. 6 months after the house sold, I barely recognized myself in a good way. My phone stayed quiet most days. No more frantic calls, no guilt-laced texts. My parents had faded into the background, a distant hum I could tune out. I wasn't their lifeline anymore, and it felt like I'd finally started living. Mom tried one last time. A voicemail. Ally, we're sorry. We miss you. Can we talk? Her voice trembled, but I'd heard that act before. It wasn't about me, it was about them, still clawing for control. I deleted it without a second thought. Dad sent a text days later. You win. Happy now? I didn't reply. This wasn't about winning. It was about surviving. The relatives gave up too. Aunt Carol's final call was short. They're managing, Ally. I hope you're okay. I am, I said. She didn't push. No one did anymore. The guilt trips had run dry. They couldn't pull me back into that old role. I'd outgrown it. Work took off. I landed a promotion. More responsibility, more pay. My boss called it a no-brainer. You've been killing it, he said. I grinned. Thanks. I've got the headspace for it now. He didn't ask what I meant. Didn't need to. Eva and I booked that trip, a week in the mountains. I paid for it with money I'd once sent their way. It felt right. One night, I found an old journal from my 20s. Pages of me worrying about them, Dad's business failing, Mom's stress, how I'd fix it. I'd written I owe them over and over. I tore those pages out and burned them in the sink. The smoke stung my eyes, but it was cleansing. I didn't owe anyone my life. Eva noticed the shift. You're you again, she said over coffee. Not their shadow. I laughed. Took long enough. She nodded. Worth it, though. It was. I started painting again, something I'd dropped years ago to work overtime. My apartment filled with color, my time, my choices. Their house, their mess, it was a memory I didn't need. A coworker asked about my family once. We're not close, I said. She didn't pry. I liked that. I didn't have to explain, didn't have to justify. My story was mine now, not theirs to twist. The last I heard, they were still in that rental, scraping by. I didn't check. Didn't care. They'd built their bed, I wasn't lying in it. One Sunday, I hiked alone. The air was sharp, the view endless. My phone buzzed. Mom again. Ally, please. We need you. I turned it off. Up there, with nothing but the wind, I felt solid. They didn't define me anymore. I did. And I was enough. The old me would have caved or rushed in, fixed it, begged for their love. The new me knew better. Walking away wasn't punishment. It was freedom. I'd survived them. More than that, I'd found myself. And I wasn't letting go. And that's it, my story of breaking free from the people who were supposed to lift me up, but only held me down. It's raw, it's real, and it's mine. If you've stuck with me this far, thanks for being here. Want more stories like this? Subscribe below so you don't miss the next one. I've got plenty more to tell.